Hey everybody. Well, I'm sick here. I was at my highest ELO rating on chess.com, like I think 961, and hadn't played in a couple days because the website wasn't doing live games for me very well. And so I logged in today and I lost six straight games, and five of them I was far ahead in. At times extremely far ahead. Other times I was ahead, and it's like you tilt, but then you also it's like starting off when you have one bad luck and then two type things, or you mess up two in a row. Then it's like, so I mean, I'm not going to play anymore today because I don't want to plummet, But it just drives you crazy because, like I said, I should have. I mean, if you just call it normal randomization, I should have won at least three of these games. So I plummeted 60 ratings points, six straight losses. I just want to go over them really fast. I'm not going to go over everything about them, but okay, it's first game against my score X. I'm doing a London. This was a bit not normal for me to push that out there. A few times I did things. They offered the trade here, and I didn't take it. But anyway, I'm not going to. There's so much to go over in these. But if we get to move 30, so you can see it's pretty even. Even pieces taken. There's been several exchanges or equal. So you get up here now. Both of our queens are gone, and I've got my pawns out there, but I mean they've got them slightly ahead. I've got this rook up here and this rook, but their king is a little better protected back here, obviously. So we both have the dark bishops, so that they're putting me in check. I got both the rooks lined up, getting kind of dangerous here. Pressure the knight. I bring the knight up. They bring the knight there, which was a mistake. So what I saw was that move, and actually the better move was this. But this is what I was looking for when I moved forward. Was I got a fork on the king and the rook. So I captured a rook. So I'm far ahead in this game. Now I only have a minute 24 is the problem. I spent too much time thinking about moves earlier on, and it was a very tight game. So I think in this one I basically ran out of time. And when you run low on time, you start misplaying. But even here, I don't think there was a direct mate in this, but I've got a bishop and a rook, and we've got equal pawns, and I've almost got a pass pawn there. But basically, it was playing out. See, I was down to 22 seconds, and I'm playing where you don't get extra seconds. And this rook exchange was a mistake. But I'm down to 19 seconds, so I exchanged the rooks. I figured, well, I still got a bishop. So now it's sort of like an even game, like a draw game. I captured their pawn. I'm ahead again. I'm down to 13. They're down to 50 seconds. I'm playing way too fast here. So there they made a pretty big mistake and pushed that pawn. Because then if I had gone here, I don't know, it led to various lines. If I move the bishop out of the way, or the queen, if I had time. So I moved there, and they came in and attacked, and the key here was my bishop was about to get attacked, but I had 12 seconds, and I just captured that pawn. So that gave them that, and now they were ahead, and I ran out of time before they could beat me. But they had 15 seconds left. So rook ahead, threw away the game. Second game was the only one that I didn't. This is the only game I wasn't ahead on, or didn't have clear winning opportunities. This one, so right after that, I'm doing a Caro-Kann, and that actually this is the advanced variation when they push this, and I actually know this one the best, or played this one the best usually. But I deviated a little bit. I think I kept this bishop up here too long, or even shouldn't have pinned it to begin with. But I've been trying to castle earlier, and I think that actually cost me in a few of these games. Anyway, so we come down to this exchange is pretty normal, by the way. I mean, this setup is pretty normal right here, to some degree. Maybe not that there, but this pointing at this on this. This is fairly normal setup between these two type things. So I mean, I'm pretty familiar with it. I withdrew the bishop all the way to here. I should have probably just exchanged it. Yeah, that me being scared because I had already traded away one bishop, and now neither of us would have a bishop. But if I had recognized that, and I was playing here super fast, I'm only used a minute on 13 moves. Anyway, so I withdraw it. They bring the queen down, and this is can be a possible checkmate. Starts getting, and I basically panicked. Well, I basically made a massive blunder. I started getting overworked. I thought about this one for 20 seconds, and I basically hung the bishop because take, and I can't retake because they're going to take. So I may have missed this. I don't know. That was just, I basically hung the bishop, and then I sort of tilted, and I just couldn't think of how to stop this checkmate here. When all I really needed to do, well, let's see, here they were talking about just getting the queen into position, but I moved the queen here to maybe try to salvage it. They moved the bishop in. Now here again, they're talking about the queen or sliding the king over. But I moved the pawn up. Still not lost. They moved the knight back. They were trying to figure out how to checkmate me, but here really this was a good move. I guess sliding the rook over. They brought the knight down. I brought the knight back, and that basically gave them mate. It was just a matter of sort of panicking and being on tilt. So anyway, I messed this one up, and they made me quit. Now the rest of, so that one I blundered and lost the game. That's fine. Then we go on to this one against Andras. He did a Queen's Gambit, and I've been doing the Slav and the semi-Slav against this, which is sort of like the Carocon, but it's against the Queen's pawn. And here I did this move, which is actually, it looks strange, where you capture, but then if you bring this pawn up and they don't have this is actually a really strong move. It gives them a lot of headaches on this side of the board. And I think they evaluated this one. So here we go on. Again, bringing this bishop out all the way is not the way I normally play. I'm starting to mess some things up here, but so they took, I took. Now here the better move apparently was to exchange that or push this, but I went ahead and took. So there, I've got them down to one pawn over here. I'm up a pawn, but I haven't done that much development yet, so I start trying to castle. There were some bad moves on both sides, but okay, so I start bringing in pieces around this side. I haven't castled yet. That was a blunder. That was a blunder because this was available. Well, if I did it, they would take with the queen. I'm not sure why I would. See, I wouldn't have done that naturally there yet because they could take it back with the queen. There may have been a nice line that led to something, but I wouldn't have done that. By the way, they even saw, like, there's some shady play in this one, to be honest with you, starting around the middle game by them. I moved out the knight. They tried to pin it. Now I did see the fork. So once they moved the queen, I said, well, the fork is here now. And this was actually a three-way fork. So I got a great move on that, and that was a great move. I got the queen, the bishop, and the rook forked. I go ahead and take the rook. Now, this was a mistake. I did this in 3 seconds. When they moved the queen down here, because I haven't castled, and this is hanging, this is up for grabs, and that's up for grabs. And it can get really messy. So I missed that by doing that. And so it's even game, even though I've got their rook, they've got my rook, and even though I've got them like hemmed back here. Move that out, so they got my other rook. I mean, there wasn't much else I could do. I was in check at this point. I mean, I could have given up that, and then they would have done again, because these couldn't get back there. These two couldn't get back there. So this was right here. If I had just castled, I would have been pretty far ahead because they wouldn't have been able to protect both those. And I could have taken that with check, and then probably that. I mean, who knows? So anyway, I messed this up. Now from here, I honestly suspect this person might have had an engine on or something, because they played the rest of the game like incredibly perfect when I screwed up, and they basically just took me out all over the board and didn't make any, like, they played basically perfectly and checkmate. So I actually I think I might have reported this person for possible cheating, just because I play a lot on this level, and the way they played it out from here, even seeing this queen move. Now, going back to here, see if you notice, there's other great moves in here as well. Like that even was a great move. That's a great move. That then they. I'm sorry. If you go back to when they even moved this king. That. Now, I'm sorry. That was a castle. So, seeing this, and unless they were going, well, I'm going to tempt him to fork me 3 ways because I'm going to do this, and if he doesn't castle, I mean, maybe they thought all that through on the 950 level. It's hard to say. I mean, they do have a good defensive. They're all locked in the corner. Maybe they were, but it just looks a little suspicious to me the way they played this one out, to be honest with you. Because look how perfect they just went around and mowed down every one of my pieces. Didn't let me get any counterplay and checkmated me. Like completely wiped me off the board. So that one actually is shady to me, but was far ahead in that one. Okay, here's another one against Geotema. So now this is 3 games I've lost in a row. So now I am starting to get pretty annoyed. Here they open with the queens again, and I did it this way to leave myself. So I'm not quite giving away what I'm doing yet, but I tend to be doing the Slav or the Caro-Kann or the semi-Slav. So they brought that out, so it actually does transpose into a Caro-Kann. Again, the advanced variation. These are the ones I normally win on. They brought that pawn down immediately, which I think shook me up a little bit, but I went into that. They booted that. Checked. Exchanged. Not the greatest. So we get here. Pretty even game. We both traded off our bishops. So here I went aggressive with the queen. I didn't see a lot of opportunity, and hadn't castled. I guess I could have brought I mean, you can bring the 9 out there, but when they're here, they can't really do much yet. Well, the way his pawn structure was, or her. So I brought the queen out. Talking about this. This is, look how open their back is. It's completely open. Mine's protected. So anyway, I brought this out. They did that. They threatened to boot it. Now I took here. Now, apparently, if they castle here, I'm ahead. But if they castle here and move this out, I'm not really sure. It can be all right for them. But so they castled. So I took the rook. Now this is not as big an advantage as you think, because there is a way. If you play it right, I think there's a way to trap my queen in exchange for this rook. I believe it's kind of a complicated line, which I don't think somebody at our level would know. But there wasn't a direct way to trap the queen that I saw immediately. And so basically I'm ahead here a rook because they let me escape. So I'm ahead at flat rook. Should win this game. Look at their structure. I mean, look at their structure compared to mine. I mean, I haven't gotten this out and I haven't castled, but they're forward, but they're exposed, and I have 2 rooks. So let's just go on. I made a couple terrible moves. Traded down. Now I've got rook queen against queen 2, and we both have the knights. They've got a pass pawn here. I've got a possible pass pawn here, so I'm pretty far ahead. I mean, I should win this. So I end up with this rook and this queen here, trying to figure out how to mate, and these 2 things drove me nuts. I ended up letting him get these connected, and I could not figure out how to break it. But there was and so I ended up leaving these back here alone, and my queen in the corner, my king in the corner. And I was so obsessed with trying to checkmate him that I messed it up. Okay, but even so, I was still ahead. Here I should have brought this in, because then I could set up for a checkmate, because this is not protecting it yet. And if I brought this here, it could threaten for that. But I've decided to bring the rook, trying to set up a checkmate type thing, or trapping him. And that I did see this right after I did it. I said, oh boy, these are in trouble. He brought up the knight. I started trying to figure out how to extricate myself from this. And actually, apparently, the best way would have just to be do a knight's sacrifice. Now, I don't know if that's something we would have seen on this level. So now it's back to even. He took that. I'm trying to get the knight out of danger. Apparently, I should have brought this down to protect the king. I brought that out to threaten. That allowed a check. And it hung the knight, if they saw it right, which they did. Okay, so we're going on. Now they were chasing me around, similar to the last game. They were chasing me around, checking, doing forced moves, and I was sort of just like, well, I still got the rook and queen. I can still try to checkmate this, but you notice these are connected. Once he got them connected, it was really messed me up, and I'm down to 3 minutes. So they had chances to get me locked in a forced mate, and finally, here about turn 39 or so, they gave me a breathing room. They castled. I'm sorry, they queened their pawn. And I was like, well, I'm probably going to lose now, but I still got this. So they queened their pawn, and I moved in for the check. Now here, the only saving move they had was this. But they went there, and I missed it. This queen diagonal, I mean, a lot of these are bishop and king diagonals I'm missing, and queen diagonals. This was checkmate because the pawn, and then this. So it was a one-move checkmate. And I missed it. And then basically they marched me down the other way and checkmated me. So was ahead of a rook and I had a checkmate and won and lost. Going on to the next match against Muhammad. This was a crazy one. So now I was sort of pissed off. I was pissed off and I'm like, come on. So here I just straight up blunder. Basically, again, open the queen's pawn. And I set up the London, but doing with the knight first. There I did everything. This is the pattern I played many times. I know it well, and you're fighting for this and fighting for that. And I know this. You move that in here. You can eventually go for this with the queen here, and you got this. I know this, and I've got a slight advantage. Castle this side, slide this back if needed. So I went in and castled. And he brought that out to attack, so I slid. Instead of sliding it backward, I just for some reason decided to move it up when I could, which I don't is not the best move. But I was looking at that. But I know the best move is to bring it back here and then take it this way since it's castle, or that way if it's not castle generally. Anyway, so I didn't do that, and I was like, oh. As soon as they moved that pawn forward, I'm like, oh. So I went ahead and took. They took. Now I saw, well, the knight can move to that square. They took that way. Now all I had to do is take back that way, and it's like an even game. I'm down a bishop, but it's an even game, and I know this fairly well. Their pawns, mine aren't developed that well, but their pawns are bad, and the castling on this side is a mess for them. So I'd actually say I'm ahead. And this bishop can't even get out. If I got rid of that bishop, that would be a key. So anyway, but I missed that. When they took here, I just thought, oh no, I blundered it. I blundered this. I didn't even see the pawn retaken. This is because my mindset was trash from having 4 straight games I lost. This particularly 3 that I had won or was way ahead in. So I just moved the bishop out, and then it actually this game was pretty wild because there were some ups and downs. And by turn 20, I started getting counterplay, even though I was down a piece. I was down a knight by this point, but they castled into nothingness, and I started getting counterplay, and I got this pawn push, little center pawn push. I had the queen lined up here, the rook lined up here, the bishop lined up here. So my position, this is why it was even though, not that bad off, even though, and I've got the defense of my king. So I did a pawn push. They took, I took. Apparently I should have brought the rook up here instead, but I'd have to go through that line. But anyway, I took it. They moved there, so I immediately said, oh, when they did that, I go, well, I got that, because that puts it in check. That's a discovered check, which they didn't see. And that was a great move. And I got this, and I get this. So I'm like, so then they move the queen. So I got a rook, but they could take it back. But my pawn became a queen, but they could take it. But I got a rook, so I should win this game from here. I've got a pawn, I've got a rook, a queen, and a bishop. I'm protected. They got this, so I get them down over here. I'm trying to figure out how to checkmate. I even double up my rook, and starting here, I had mates. Starting turn 27, I had mates. Move this in. I don't think that's the most natural move right away. It was basically the one that was the top line was. It really wasn't a supernatural move to me. It was. Let me see. It was this. They take. Bring this up again. They move. So that one's not supernatural on my level, but there were. So I moved down there. They basically moved their king into mate. They're just desperately trying to escape. They know a mate's coming. So here, all I had to do here was here, and it would have probably become self-evident. But I was, I was down to 3 minutes, but I didn't do that. I decided to bring the other rook up. Let me see. No, I did that. I did actually do that. I'm sorry. They brought the knight back to defense, and now I have a mate in 4 with this check. But I just didn't see that check, apparently. I keep missing these queen and bishop diagonal checks. So I spent 22 seconds thinking about it, but I just said, well, let me bring this in. And I think I was just going, well, I'm going to have a mate soon. There's not much they can do. I just got to figure out how to not let them escape. But then I got these pawns preventing the escape on that side. So if I check them there, they have to guard with this or this. If they guard with this, I guess you bring that up. And this is pinned. That will be taken. That's pinned. So I suppose they could do that and that. And that's checkmate. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't much escape. There was mate. But I missed the queen check. So I brought the rook down. Again, I have mate in 6. With bringing this bishop down. So I missed this. I'm missing this one. I had all my positions perfectly. And I thought about this one for nearly a minute. Because once they brought this pawn down, I'm like, well, I can get checkmated here, actually, with this and this. If I do this wrong, because it's going to be a check on this. So I'm like, should I take it that way? Should I? And I missed that this was another forcing check. And you might as well force them to check when you're in these very strong positions. And this also hits this. So like that. And then they have to bring their bishop down. And then I take. And then they take. And then again, if I saw this diagonal one, type of thing. But it's fairly precarious here. But so I thought about this for a minute, and I just decided to not take and to block it off. Even taking I would have still had a mate. I think I was thinking cutting off the escape square for the king and checkmating it, and not letting that come down. So that gave them mate in 3. They blundered that. So they left open. I was down to 30 seconds though. They had mate in 4 here by moving this out. So they ended up. They have 2 queens against 2 rooks, a bishop. They have 2 queens, a knight, and that. So they were pretty far ahead, but they had mate in 4. They blundered one of them. Or they traded it. Now I have 2 rooks against a queen, a knight, and a bishop. The key here was getting this. Well, let's see. So I put them in check. They slid back. So now I got the other one. So now I'm ahead in the game. They moved out again. But the problem is I'm down to 22 seconds here. So the key here was to get this. I was thinking that this was checkmate, or this. This might have been down here, but the key here was to check here keep him forced on this side. Then come down. If you could get into here. If you can get into here, well, let's just say, if you can get this into here, let's just say they went there. If you can get that into there, it's mate, because you got the 2 rooks on each line. It wasn't a matter of sideways rook checkmate. But I was down to 19 seconds, so I was playing really fast here, and not really, I really thought I had a mate here, actually. So I kept missing the mate, and I let them escape, and then I blundered there because they forked me. And I still thought this might be a mate, but I hung that. But I basically ran out of time. So now I blundered them away. Not very happy, and I ran out of time, and so they won. And then no, one more. I'm sorry. That was 5 straight losses. I know there was a checkmate in 1. There was a checkmate in 4. I had rooks twice. One of them I straight out blundered checkmate away. Now that one's fine. I mean, that was a terrible blunder, but so then the final game against Mexu Yunkuda. I'm not going to play anymore today. I may not play anymore the next couple of days because this really pisses me off, and it starts giving you that stress about, oh, I'm not going to get my rating. And even though I know I'm 1,000 or 1,200 player, it's sometimes it's the mid to late game and the end game that I mess up on. But my openings get me ahead in almost all these games. Okay, so this one again. Now here, I want to play this or this, but they threw me off. They played a Gambit, an England Gambit. This person was, I think, from Taiwan or China. And they played a Gambit here. And it says it's the England Gambit. And I didn't really remember how it goes, but apparently the best one is to do this. I think I was worried about that this leads to forcing you not to be able to castle. Anyway, so I didn't take it. I just covered it. And that's locked in my Dark Bishop, which is the opposite of what you do in the London. So this is why this annoyed me, this move, because I couldn't get it out to where I wanted to in the London, and would have had to adapt. And also I was sort of angry on tilt after losing 5 games. But anyway, so I played it this way, and ended up transposing it into more of a, I don't even know, like a reverse Slaver, like a Queen's, I don't even know, like a reverse. They're saying it's called reverse French variation of the England Gambit decline. So I knew it was getting transposed. I brought out the knight that way because I was still obsessed about building this triangle. Just played this really strange. This is not how I normally play, but I was castled, and now here I'm ahead. They blundered. Let's see what they blundered. They blundered this because this was pinned. I missed pins in several of these games. I missed key moves where I had things pinned, which was the whole point of what I did, was to pin them, and I missed that they were still pinned. So I had that pawn for free, and then that threatens that, and it just creates danger. But I missed that. So I castled, still ahead, and so I withdrew. Again, the move was trading here, or capturing this pawn and forcing this to move. Anyway, I missed it. I did trade of knights there. Got the rook on this open file. I just slid this over, which is something I don't normally do either. It's very passive, but at this point I'm pretty downhearted. I think I had long castled here, and I was like, well, let me just, because I saw these pointing at it and this and this. Okay, so I'm out of my comfort zone here from where I normally play, but I get into a situation where I'm down 2 pawns. They've got them on the board much better, but we trade off. They trade off again. Now I know it says I'm down, but I've got this file, I've got a queen pointing in there, and I've got this bishop, and I've got this protected. So I really wouldn't have said this was that bad a position. It's pretty strange actually that they have me down so much. Maybe because they're totally safe here. I'm not really sure. Anyway, this eventually leads to here. They brought the bishop down into the exchange, so that's open. That line's open. There they blundered. and I saw it. No, and I didn't see it. I'm sorry. All the move was this was kind of, this one I didn't see. This was kind of complicated, but take there, take there, take there, and the rook is trapped because I own that file. And I didn't see that move. But like I said, when you're on your sixth game of losing and they got you and you're out of your comfort zone, I just saw this move as, you know, a decent move, keeping the pressure going, and I still have this file owned. So anyway, I missed the trapped rook. And again, now here that exchange variation, or doing that exchange, I withdrew to here. Now here I'm starting to think I can get a checkmate on him. Moving on, we exchanged down more, so very even piecewise, and you know, some swings, but I've got a knight, I've got a bishop, they've got a knight, they've got the pawn, they've got an extra pawn on this side. Their pawns are a little forward, my pawns are split there, but not, you know, not that much different. But I'm down to a minute 52. And so it's an even game here because they could like, I think they could perpetually check me, which they sort of were. So I actually, I'm sorry, I got their knight here. They hung the knight. And even though I took it, it's still an even game because I think they can perpetually check, and they have this. They hung their knight going when they missed this long. They missed this possibly, unless they were some super genius. So they hung the knight. So now I have a bishop. I mean, this engine was surprising to me afterward on this one actually, because when you look at it, I have a bishop and our pawns are fairly equal, but just situationally, I guess that it was even game, and I think they could have perpetually checked me. So they started perpetually checking me a lot and taking my pawns, but eventually they made some blunders. They were making blunders along the way here. I think I needed to move the knight or the king out here, or they weren't playing this precisely. These weren't blunders, but so they were scooping my pawns, and they finally gave me a break, and I took that pawn that way. So now I'm going, it's the wrong color, but you know, there's that, and there's something here. I scooped that pawn, but I'm down to 49 seconds. I'm +6 right now. The move I missed was a check here. I mean, I've been missing these diagonal longer checks and hits with the queen and the bishop is what my biggest weakness is on these, clearly, and being bad on time on a couple games. I saw the check there, threaten the queen, move the king out of the way, started trying to line this up somehow, figuring, well, and I'm down to 19 seconds. They made a big mistake there, trying to protect that pawn. If I saw this, because then that would allow, then they would, well, I don't know why they would. Well, either way. So if I took, they could take. Anyway, that was a good move by the book, but I went in this way. Check me, check me, check me. Now there, they blundered and made a mate in 2, but I only had 7 seconds left. They moved there, basically putting the, I think they were looking, I don't know, they might have been looking for an escape for that, but it wasn't available. So all I needed to do there was check, and the king was trapped. But I was down to 7 seconds, and you know, when that happens, you don't see it, and maybe, you know, maybe I should have, but I went in that way instead. I knew I had an opportunity, but I took the wrong square. It's always look for these checks. That's another thing on a couple of these. I missed key checks at key moments. That would have won me 3 of these games, at least. And I ran out of time. So, extremely frustrating. I guess I could say I could learn from it, but now I'm not going to, I have to force myself not to play anymore today, because this is when you go on those really bad runs. And I was already on the way to, I was getting on the path to 1,000 easily, and then from there, so extremely frustrating. Anyway, sorry for the long rant and everything. Thanks for checking out my video. Please subscribe and like. Have a variety of content. Thank you.